today we're sitting down with Josh Cox from Brick and Beam, who is a friend and client for a couple years. Something he'll not tell you, he's a talented photographer. He takes a lot of his own great photos and makes phenomenal custom furniture. So thanks for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So yeah, I guess we could just kind of start with how we met each other, which is kind of complicated, right?
Yeah. Well, both of our wives work at the same hair salon. They're both super talented. Mm-hmm. I often joke that my wife is far more talented than me. People just know me because of social media or whatever. Yeah. And I think that probably say the same about your wife.
She's much more likable and talented for sure, without question.
So yeah, I think that's how we met and just kind of hit it off. I think we've got a lot in common. And I saw that you guys were doing the branding thing with video and photography, and just watching you guys progress has been so cool.
Yeah, because early on, like very early on, we had a coffee and you were like giving me a lot of really helpful advice about the way to think about branding and marketing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I always love hanging out, whatever we're doing. But I think it was really cool to see just your passion. I think that your background is in kind of creating stories. You were an English teacher, I think, right?
Sadly,
I don't
yes.
know if we're allowed to say that.
You're allowed to say that.
But I think that's really helped you. And just to see you bringing those skills into the Pierson Collective, having a background in creating narratives and themes and stories and plots and implementing those into your clients' stories and kind of helping them bring that out, I think is really cool. And so it's just seeing that, from the first time hearing you talk about the Pierson Collective and like, hey, I think we're going to do this thing. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. And look at you now.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to last. And here we are,
Same.
Thankfully, Eric came on really quickly and righted the ship, and kept it going. Yeah, so I do. It was like almost just an idea at that point when we met. And then COVID happened. And I was like, I always tell the story, like, for us, it was like COVID happened. And I was like, well, it was a good run. Thinking like, that's the end for sure.
Yeah. It was a weird time to be alive.
Yeah, it really was.
And just a weird time for small businesses across the board for a variety of reasons that we can or cannot get into, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I think it made it more important to, I wouldn't say trim the fat, but to be really a lot more intentional with what you're doing. So like really lean into, okay, these are the things that have worked. These are the things that are working. This is what we do best, and really hone in on that. That's what I saw you guys doing a lot, figuring out, okay, these are the things that we don't necessarily do. These are the things that we're really good at, like brand videos.
Yeah, I do remember during that time, it was like leaning into what we really wanted to do. And then you were like kind enough to be like, yeah, let's make some content.
100%.
And then you like let us come in there, and with, maybe 2 cameras at that point, it was still pretty early. And then Eric, I remember, had you like use we recorded all of the different like I'm using the wrong term. That was so fun. What's it called?
Yeah, we did like the hand plane, a lot of the hand tools.
Yeah.
Man, that was such a good time. That was the day that you guys came in when you were just experimenting with some different things. Mm-hmm. And you had like lights and like tree branches to like simulate. That was so cool.
And then it was like having you drop like different slabs of wood to get like different hits, and then using all that to make like audio tracks or whatever.
Yeah, I remember Eric was walking around with his headphones and like just trying to figure out different things. And he's like, okay, now drop that tool again. And I was like, what? What in the world is happening? But then he put it together, and it was like this cool like custom beat based on all of just tool sounds and everything. And I was blown away. I totally didn't expect that. That was so cool.
Because we had done all the beats, right, Eric? We'd done the beats, and then he sent us the drill.
Yeah, that was later.
Later, yeah. You sent us that clip of like the Mobley credenza.
Yeah.
And we were both like, dude, we should make that a synth sound, which I don't even know if that's a reality. And Eric's like, yeah, okay. And then he made the synth sound for it.
That's how I was trying to explain that. I showed that to someone the other day, because I still show that video or the series of videos all the time. Because they'll say, people will say like, oh, that's really cool. They, did a really awesome brand video for you. Like, but wait, there's more. let me show you this thing. And like, everything in here was made from the sounds from our workshop. It wasn't just, we pulled something off the internet or we just created something. It was like literally me like hammering a slab of wood or dropping it or using the hand plane or like you mentioned, the grinder or the tool that we used to carve the credenza.
We really got inspired when Josh sent us some footage that he had shot himself of a drill that he uses on the credenza that you see in the main video. And when we heard it, immediately Eric and I were both like, oh man, that's an interesting tone. Let's take that, let's turn it to a synth.
So after turning the Mobley sample or the piece into an actual synth, this is it by itself. So you have all the grind and noise and stuff of the actual drill, and you have most of the pitch moving too after I sampled it. But what you kind of have to add to it is an actual like low end kind of Moogish kind of synth sound.
And so that kind of led us down this road of taking different sounds and building video and content around that, ultimately getting to like the larger idea. Yeah, that was like I wish we could do those kinds of projects all the time, where it's like,
come on over,
like a great story and then like great visuals and then like things that we can really easily take and make music out of. And so that was 2020, I guess. And then we didn't do any work together for a while. And then you were like, hey, it was a 10-year kind of anniversary / rebrand / new website, like the whole thing. And you came to us about doing an updated brand video.
Absolutely. I think over the years, it's the same thing with the print thing. I want to make this furniture catalog of all the things that we've done, but I wanted to make sure that we were there and that we were, because I didn't want to create something that wasn't up to the standards that I wanted to put out. And it was the same thing with the brand video as well. I wanted to make a brand video, but I wanted to have it capture and fully encapsulate all the things that were important to Bricker and Beam, important to us, important to our story. And so after that first go around, and then obviously us being friends, I was just like, these are the guys. Like it's not a question. Both, to come full circle because of the quality of your work, but then also because you understand the narrative focus. Because I think sometimes you can make brand videos, and I've seen a lot of them where it's all flashy camera transitions, and especially with a shop like ours, there's sparks and sawdust, and there's all these cool elements. But I think it's easy to get lost in the sprinkles and the decorations, but then miss the story. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I really appreciated about you guys is that you focused on the story and then used some of those other things to just make it even better.
Yeah, I think because we met quite a few times before that production, as far as like what's the story and what are we trying to focus on. Mm-hmm. And then I was just recently talking to like a younger filmmaker, and they were like, so what are the trends you're seeing with like transitions and editing? And I like almost didn't even know how to answer it because I was like, well, we just figure out what the story is and then kind of like work backwards, like what visuals work the best.
Sure.
As opposed to being like, oh, because I don't, like we filmed you cutting the tree down.
Yeah.
But I think that came after the idea of like, like we want to tell the story of like cutting a tree down all the way to like finished furniture.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a parallel narrative to like your journey.
Yeah.
There were a lot of crazy moments like that. The cutting the tree down, you were like so cool and calm. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna like cut it down and it's gonna fall.
I'm glad I've seen that way.
Exactly right here.
Yeah.
And then we just set up a bunch of cameras and like crossed our fingers,
Yeah. You're like, this is where we want it to fall. And I was like, I totally got it. It's totally going to happen.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was just like, man, I hope I don't crush someone today. That would be probably put a little bit of a downer on the day.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, I didn't know I didn't know you could be this confident when cutting a tree down. I felt like there was a little like unknown, but it fell exactly where you said it was going to.
Sometimes when you're good, you're good.
Yeah, it was a wild thing, and I remember thinking like, oh wow, we got this moment, right? Mm-hmm. And then the idea of like the first part of you just walking to cut the tree down, and then like the tree getting cut down kind of sets into motion. Yeah. Was actually Eric's idea of like waiting for that. But I really think it served the story well, right?
Absolutely. No, it was really fun to just like a lot of times, I mean, as you know, as a business owner, a lot of times you're trying to stay on top of everything. You're trying to make everything happen in some capacity or another. And so getting to just be along for the ride and watch you guys work your magic, like that was so fun just to get to be a participant. So
I remember you were like, once we started production, you were like, I don't want to see it till it's done.
Yeah.
Which is like terrifying and encouraging, because you're like, here's the complete idea. We scored it, the whole thing. I hope you like it, But I feel like we had talked so much that like I felt confident in at least like conveying the story,
Oh, absolutely. Like I felt that way, and I said those things because I had so much confidence that you guys would knock it out of the park.
And, I mean, that means a ton.
Yeah.
And then you had all that footage from your grandfather's farm, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. So this shows how long I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
I knew there were certain elements that would be important to the story that were captured from my grandfather's farm up in Ohio, but it wasn't practical necessarily to bring a whole crew up there, financially, but also, it's in the middle of Ohio. So I didn't want to just like rural Ohio. I didn't want to just randomly bust into my grandfather's house with like 16 guys or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just tried to capture little essences and elements, little memories that I think were important to the developing of Bricker and Beam and kind of why we started to begin with. And so I was trying to figure out a way to incorporate those into some future brand video. So, just having like a basic DSLR, just capturing different things, tractors and chopping firewood, things that I remember being important to me and therefore important to the story. So I appreciate you guys being willing to work with me on that. I'm sure all of the camera settings were wrong, but you guys made it look awesome.
No, it's great because, I mean, what better piece of storytelling than to have like, you're saying I grew up, going to my grandfather's farm and then like having footage of that farm. Yeah. It's really cool. And to have him in like doing woodworking in there.
Yeah.
With like the crazy like homemade tools and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't get me started. My grandfather, we call it the MacGyver gene. So like the old TV show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where he just like makes diffuses a bomb with bubble gum and a paper clip or something. Just you use whatever you have. And so my grandfather had that and has that to a large degree. And so he would just make these tools that you're like, this is not safe. I don't think anybody should be using this, but it does do the job that you made it for.
OSHA's not going to your
Please don't. Please don't.
Dude, and the other funny story about the production for you was whose idea was it to go into the woods? I just remember, was it Andrew's side? Was it?
Josh wanted to go into the woods and we just made it happen.
Okay, there it is, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, I drug you guys into the woods. I just thought it would be so cool. I just wanted to shoot pieces of furniture, like especially that big slab coffee table.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be like a cool cyclical, like, here's this awesome slab coffee table. Let's put it in the woods amongst other trees.
Yeah.
And I think everyone got like tick bites and spider bites. And
we came prepared for the ticks. I mean, I had like my pants tucked into my boots and like the whole thing. But yeah, I remember that being like, this would look cool.
Yeah.
And then like the reality of it, it's like, wait a minute. This is so far from power.
Yeah,
we ran like 100 feet of, I don't even know.
Oh yeah, we had to do that. I forget about that, man. That was, you guys are so kind to have humored me with all of that shenanigans. Yeah. But yeah, we like lugged all the cameras and the lights and stuff into the forest there.
Yeah.
And, but I think it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, my thought is, how many chances do you get to do something like cool, like a brand video like this?
Yeah.
And so might as well swing for the fences.
Yeah. It ended up being one of my favorite setups, like totally unplanned, really. Right.
Yeah.
If I recall. And then, getting all the lights out there. And then I always want to put like, this isn't green screen when it cuts to that shot. Because it almost reads like, because of the way the lighting looks and everything. But
Yeah, you guys nailed the lighting in the forest so much that it looked fake.
yeah.
It's just a testament to you guys and your skill.
Yeah, it was a fun project for sure. And then for that one, we again made most of the beat stuff from your workshop, and some of the, I think, torches. It's not flamethrower. What is it?
Well, yeah, more or less. It'd be way cooler.
It was so
probably
cool.
get more viral views on social media with a flamethrower. Yeah. Some of the torch shots, because we'll do this is a whole separate thing. So there's like a concept people call shoshugiban or shosugiban or something. It's a Japanese technique where they will char wood. It's technically considered like charred cedar plank is kind of what it translates to. Gotcha. Anyway, so we try to incorporate that because it's so cool with fire, and you get this really interesting texture that you don't get otherwise. Yeah. So that's probably what we were doing.
Yeah, and it made like a really cool element in the track. Yeah. For sure. And then, yeah, that was just a really fun project. That was one of those things where it's like good friends, cool story, creative freedom, for better, for worse, and then end up being really, something we're proud of. And so thanks for trusting us with it.
Yeah, you should be. You guys did such a great job. It was fun. I know it was a long day that day, but.
Oh yeah, we got out there for like sunrise tree cutting and then left at night, I think.
Yeah, that was a long day, but I appreciate you guys being good sports.
Isn't that yummy and that awesome dinner?
Yeah, well, we had to have the harvest dinner on the dining table that we made, so that was like the full circle moment of tree to table.
And I remember being really scared when we hung our cameras over you guys in like a one-of-a-kind table,
the table can be fixed. I was more worried that like a camera would fall into the mashed potatoes or something.
That would have been some good footage for sure.
That's true.
Great blooper reel, Have you seen like a positive reaction to that brand video?
Absolutely. It was made for multi-purpose channels. We put it on the website, we put it on social media, we do different things with it, different snippets here and there. But it's something that I keep pinned to the top of our social media, and constantly, like, I just keep getting people liking and commenting on it, even to this day. And that's been what, like a year?
I mean, it's been
a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. I guess it'd be like right at a year. Yeah, but something like that.
I feel to a degree that it was, not to be too melodramatic about it, but like it was like a missing piece to our branding that we were able to incorporate because it kind of tied everything together. There's so many shops that are, we kind of do this thing and nobody really understands what's happening or why we're doing it, but we just kind of put out cool stuff every once in a while. That's like the majority of shops, which is totally fine. But I wanted to incorporate something that really told the story of our brand, why we did it. And so to me, a lot of the feedback has been, wow, like I didn't realize that there was all this backstory to it, or like I didn't understand the whole thing with your grandfather. I didn't realize that, like this is so cool. So I think seeing almost like, again, not to be melodramatic, but the soul of the business, like this is why this exists. It's not just like a quick money grab. It's not just like we're trying to make 7,000 restaurant tables a year. It's just like, we're doing things on purpose, and here's why, because I was kind of brought up in that way to do things on purpose, to do things intentionally. Yeah. So you guys capturing all that in a video, I think was just so cool. And I think it shows, and people see it.
No, and it's something that's come up with the other clients that we've talked with, is like trying to communicate your why. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because like a lot of people make furniture, a lot of people make videos or whatever. Yeah. And so that's one way to like, draw people in to your story, is like, this is why I'm doing it. And there's something bigger than, like you said, just selling as many tables as possible. And so, yeah, that's one of our favorite things, is like trying to really get at the heart, is like, why is this company doing something? And then trying to think of the most creative way to communicate that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, we've gotten a lot of amazing feedback on it, just from, friends and businesses. But I think we work a lot with interior designers and architects, and them seeing, oh wow, like these guys really give a damn. Like they're not going to just try to pass off the least viable product, or I don't know the minimum viable product.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But like they're actually going out of their way to do things that are way harder to do, but they mean a lot more and they're cooler things. Like they're not just seeing what they can get away with, but they're like actually putting everything into it. But I really think that the branding work that you guys did for us really helped people see that. Hopefully, but we've gotten a lot of good feedback. I know you guys have as well.
Yeah.
With awards and everything. It's taken over the world.
Yeah, I was going to try to avoid talking about that because I mean, it's probably something we should talk about. I don't know, but
well, I'll talk about it. I don't know if they've said, but Pierson Collective have won like a zillion awards because they're awesome. So they've done such a great job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was one of those. I was talking to someone at the Addies where I was like, it's like I said a second ago, where it's like all of these things coming together. Where it's like
absolutely
a really great story and like cool visuals that like. We got, it's not every day you can be like, let's go to your farm and cut a tree down,
Yeah.
So it was super fun and fulfilling to do that. Going back to like the first project we did.
Oh yeah.
Where we had maybe 2 GH5s. I think we had stepped up to 2 whole cameras.
Yeah, I think somebody was holding an iPhone in the background.
Probably. And then we just bought our first real light.
Yeah.
An Aperture 300, but we didn't have any diffusers for it, so we actually brought Eric's shower curtain from his guest's shower and hung it up, and there you have it. That was it,
and it worked like a champ. Like you wouldn't have known, or at least I didn't know the difference.
That's how you get like an 8x8 diffused light source, right?
Yeah, that was cheap. Perfect. I remember we were sitting there and you were like, just trust me, this is going to look great. I promise this will be fine.
I think one of the best compliments I think was one of our friends was like, oh, I thought that was just next to a window. Yeah. I was like, oh, good. Thanks. That was the goal,
That's what you want.
And you were saying there's like some parallels where like we have a lot more gear now. Yeah. I mean, not a lot more, but we have more. Yeah. And but we could still do like execute creative visions through that,
Absolutely. No, I think one of the, and I'm going to back up to go forward, but I think one of the pitfalls that a lot of creatives make is that they think they have to have all of the things to be creative. Mm-hmm. So they'll say, I had a friend who started a shop and he went and spent over $100,000 getting all of the machines and the tools and the thises and the that's to start a shop, which is fine. If you can do it that way, that's great. But, that's not the path that we took necessarily. And I think the point I'm making is that if you have the creative vision and you have the eye and you have like, where you're going and what you're trying to do, you will make it happen. Again, with the MacGyver thing, you'll make it happen however you can. Whether it's, we don't have a big enough diffuser for our light, let's get a shower curtain, or like we don't have the proper gimbal, so let's just like get some stuff from Lowe's and make it, or whatever it is. Yeah. For us, it was a lot of, we don't have the tool to do that, so how can we make it in such a way that we actually don't need that tool, that we can, make it in a different way or make it with different components or however. But my point being is that's one of the things that I've always appreciated about you guys is that you have the raw talent and you can make beautiful things with just something small or just something that other guys would need all of this gear to make. But you guys just, and now that you have the gear, you're making even better stuff. That's, not to write you a love letter here, but.
It's a very nice letter. Yeah. I appreciate that. Well, thanks for coming by the office and talking with us.
Absolutely.
And letting us do cool projects.
Absolutely. We'll have to do another one soon.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Come up with some cool stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you.